This is scary to say, but like I said, I really want to help somebody who might be in those shoes right now. There was a point in my life where I legitimately thought that the only thing that can cure me was that if I was diagnosed with cancer and that I would be stuck to hospital bed all day. Because if that happened, at least I would be under 24/7 health monitoring and can feel a little bit at ease. There was a point in my life where I thought that was literally the only thing that could help me. That was the only way I would heal.
What's up, everyone? I'm Philip Mihailovich, the founder of Realign Reality, the worldwide depression and anxiety recovery program. So, today I'm with my client Jackie, who recovered in just 17 days after having depression, anxiety, and OCD. So happy to have you, Jackie, here to talk about your story. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? Where did this all start? So, take us all the way back to the beginning.
Yeah, so this all started about a year ago. I'm from New York. I'm 27, right? About a year ago, I started just it started off as like minor, I guess, anxiety attacks, panic attacks, if you will, where I would just like I would be out with my friends. I wasn't really able to be present. I was always thinking about work, and as time went on, it started to like affect my confidence. It started to affect my relationships. I was not performing well at work, and it kind of just like snowballed on from there. And it was a very long journey. It and it tests you. It tests you. It tests every part of you, right? The only way I could describe it is that for about since I think I would want to say August of last year, or um yeah, since about August of last year, I was basically at war with my body and my mind every day, and it's wild to say that.
100%, man. I remember you reached out to me only 3 weeks ago, and when you were telling me your story, I was like, wow, like I can resonate with you a lot. It's in terms of the symptoms, what you've gone through. And on that note, Jackie, tell everyone like what are the specific symptoms that you went through?
I had heart palpitations. I had trouble taking deep breaths. Um, I had like muscle twitches. I had very bad insomnia. Like there was a point where I didn't sleep for like a week. I think maybe even more. Honestly, it was tough to say. Um, I'm trying to think what else. There was so many. There was so many. When you have anxiety to the point where I had it, it's like literally everything is on the table. And that's kind of what I wanted to share today. That like if you're going through this right now and you really feel like something is physically wrong with you, like that you have cancer or anything like that, I can basically guarantee you 99% that you do not have anything wrong with you. And then the more you keep on feeding the anxiety, the more it will send you symptoms you didn't think it could send you. And I
Well,
was in those shoes. Like I had eye twitching, I had muscle twitching, I had trouble taking deep breaths, like the heart palpitations, things like that. I had knots in my stomach. There would be times where I would go from being constipated to having diarrhea, and then it would just switch around. So yeah.
yeah, 100%, man. And like myself, I had so many physical symptoms, like it was no joke. And that's where it really all started with when the anxiety really peaked for me was you go to the doctors in and out, go to ER, something's wrong with me, something's wrong with me. Oh, my heart or this, and they can't find an answer. And how was it when you went to those doctors and they couldn't find anything for yourself, Jackie?
This is scary to say, but like I said, I really want to help somebody who might be in those shoes right now. There was a point in my life where I legitimately thought that the only thing that can cure me was that if I was diagnosed with cancer and that I would be stuck to hospital bed all day. Because if that happened, at least I would be under 24/7 health monitoring and can feel a little bit at ease. There was a point in my life where I thought that was literally the only thing that could help me. That was the only way I would heal.
Yeah, man, that
It's
it
like you
literally
go to
is.
the doctor's office and it's a lose-lose situation. You either find out that nothing's wrong with you and then people look at you like you're crazy, or you find out that something is wrong with you and then you have to deal with a health issue. Now, thank God, I never had anything crazy serious. I actually was hospitalized during this bout. That was something separate. I had rhabdomyolysis because I was working out too much without hydrating properly. But yeah, it's scary to think that that's where I was, where I literally thought that the only thing that can get me out of this was being diagnosed with cancer and having 24/7 medical care.
I know how hard that is for someone, man, because you really kind of just go to the doctors hoping that they find an answer so you can just end the searching process. You're like Cool.
Exactly.
I just want them to
It,
say,
it's
I've
the
got
fear of
this.
the unknown.
Fear of the unknown. 100%. That's all it is. Your mind is it's trying to find an answer, which is why it's convincing you research more, go to that doctor's appointment, go do this. You're a mystery case, all this, or you've got something special that they can't find up. You go get the MRI scans or CT scans and all of that stuff. And another, when you came to me, I remember you were so convinced that you had something like severely wrong with your health. You thought like, I've got something, they haven't found it. How do I know this is anxiety? That's the thing that keeps people stuck is they really think it's a physical issue when in reality it's actually anxiety. It shows up in so many ways. Another specific
Yeah,
thing I wanted to talk about, Jackie, is about your intrusive thoughts because I remember you got stuck in these loops all the time. Tell everyone a little bit
yeah,
about that.
yeah. So it was really scary. Like there was a week stretch of time where all I could think about that I was about to die soon. Literally, I feared death like crazy. That was the week that I basically didn't fall asleep because I was literally afraid that if I were to go to sleep, I would die in my sleep. Then there was suicidal thoughts, and I would say there was suicidal thoughts that really attacked me. And I'm saying it wasn't for a day or two; it was for weeks on end, right? And I would say where it really, really got to my low point was when whenever I looked at my parents, I had these intrusive thoughts that like I wanted to hurt them.
Yeah, man. It's scary when you don't understand the brain because people are so convinced that the intrusive thoughts is them thinking it. They think, "Oh, why am I thinking that? Am I going crazy? Am I like a serial killer?" All these type of things.
Yeah,
Intrusive thoughts is a no joke, but the thing is, once you understand how your brain works, that you're not actually your thoughts, the fear removes because you're like, okay, this is just my brain playing games with me. It's not me. You learn
yeah.
the response that I've taught you, smile, accept, love, and move on. And once you do that through repetition, you rewire your brain and you show your brain that these thoughts they're not real. It's just your mind playing an illusion
Yeah.
on you. Yeah.
And I would say that those intrusive thoughts, especially the one with like hurting my parents, I actually like looking back at all that happened now. I think it's the best thing that could have happened to me because once that happened, I finally was able to like really, really understand and say to myself, okay, this is rock bottom. There's going nowhere but up. And that it was the to me, it was proof to me that my brain was doing nothing but lying and talking shit. Because like obviously I love my family. I remember when we first got on my welcome call to book with you. My biggest you always talk about what's your why, and for
Mhm.
me my why was my family. I didn't want them to see me like this any longer, you know. So I knew I loved my family. I knew that this was my brain just talking shit. And once that happened, to me, it was like the motivating factor to like go all in on my recovery and understand that you don't need to listen to your thoughts.
I love that. I love that, man. Your why is the biggest thing. Everyone that comes to me, right? And I get them onboarded, I tell them, what is your why, right? Because the why has to be bigger than yourself. Because on those days you don't want to do anything, those days that are really
Yeah,
tough, you have to think bigger than yourself. You got to think about your family, your brother, your father, your mum, your future life, your future family, your career. And then those things come into play. And yeah, as you said, man, your why is so important when it comes to your recovery. And on the note of family and stuff, how was your relationships with your family, friends, and yeah, how was that?
oh, throughout the process, there was like basically no relationship at all. I would self isolate. I would literally get home from work, do nothing but doom scroll, eat, and then go back to sleep. There was a point where the only thing I looked for, like, I would wake out. There was a point where I would wake up, and literally from the second I would wake up, I would have suicidal thoughts, and I just couldn't wait from like let's say I woke up at 8 a.m., 8:30 a.m. The only thing I looked forward to was getting back into bed. And even getting back and mind you, even getting to back into bed, even when I would hit the bed that night, it wasn't like it was a pleasant experience because my brain wouldn't stop talking shit. And a lot of times it would take me 2 hours to fall asleep, an hour and a half to fall asleep, if I even fell asleep at all that night. So it's a really dark stage in your life. I want to really, really let anyone know else that's in this situation right now, please, please understand that you're so much closer to recovering from this than you think. And once you listen to Philip and structure a routine, make it a non-negotiable, no matter how you feel to hit that routine, you will basically immediately see results. And once you grab onto those slither of hope, you can become a rocket ship much quicker than you think. So I would really implore anybody out there that's feeling this way right now, God forbid, like, don't end your life. Understand that this is not you. You are so much bigger than your own thoughts, and you're so much closer to recovery than you think. You just have to want it badly enough. And honestly, in my early days of the recovery program, like whenever like the like maybe I don't know if this would help everyone. To me, it helped. In my early days of being in the program, whenever like physical symptoms showed up, and as you know, like when you're trying to recover, a lot of times the physical symptoms will actually get worse and worse. To
Hmm.
me, I told myself, like, listen, I'm honestly ready to die, as opposed to living like this the rest of my life. If this like heart palpitation kills me, so be it. I'm not feeding the fear and feeding the loop and having this be the rest of my life. And really, that's how you overcome it. You have, in some ways, if you're in a really, really, really bad spot, you have to say to yourself, like, I'm ready to die, as opposed to live another day like this and continue to feed the loop.
Love that, man. That is
Because
wise
because
words.
because either way, like that life that I had was not a life. I basically for 6 to 8 months, I was a walking corpse, honestly.
Yeah. Ah, it's just it reminds me, man, like how I was, man. And thank you, Jackie, for that. Like anyone listening to this, you got to understand that you are so much closer. Like 10 years of my life, I suffered severe depression, severe anxiety, DPDR, agoraphobia, OCD, all these anxiety disorders, right? And as Jackie just mentioned, it is a life or death situation because a life with this isn't a life. It's not a life. You're just, as you said, a walking corpse. I like that. You have to make the decision that it is life or death. You have to be, okay, I'm either going to, let this kill me or I'm going to go all in. Okay. That is what's important here is that you have to give 110%. You have to have a recovery action plan. You need to know how your brain works. You need to understand how to rewire your brain through neuroplasticity, reprogram your subconscious mind. That's exactly what Jackie did. And look at that guy. 17 days later, he's made a full recovery. That's exactly what he needed to do. And he did it. He said, I'm going to go forward. I'm going to do what it needs to take. And he did it. And he went and did it, man. What do you feel like? Obviously, you've mentioned quite a lot, but what do you feel like you've lost the most over the last year? What do you think depression, anxiety, all of this stuff has taken away from you personally?
It took my identity away. It took my identity away. I was somebody that was always a very joyful, happy person. I was always, even from the time I was 8, 9 years old. I was always a class clown. I had never had any trouble making friends in school, even after high school. Oh, I always had a nice amount of friends. I would always be the jokester. I would always just be looking to forward to going out with my friends. I would have a lot of I do sales, so I would have a lot of confidence on my phone, and that basically stripped everything from me. I literally would not want to leave the house most days. I literally never hit up my friends to chill, and yeah, it takes away your entire identity. But yeah.
It really takes away your life, man. It's you can't explain it to someone who hasn't been through it. It's just the reality. And Jackie, on that note, like, how was it to be around people that just didn't understand what you were going through?
So I never really, I mean, to this day, I haven't really even told any of my friends
Huh?
about it. Even my brother doesn't know about it. Like the only people that really know that I went through this were like some of my spiritual guidance
Hmm.
counselors, I
Hmm.
guess if you will. And then like my very close family members, like my mom, my dad, yeah, my mom, my dad, and one of my brothers. But I didn't really tell any of my friends. Like I said, I barely even saw them to begin with because I was isolating so much, and I felt like nothing's pointless. The joy out of life was completely sucked away. Um, but yeah, it's depression suffocates you. It makes you think that there's no hope. It makes you it makes you question everything you've ever done in your life, as if that when you did that action at the time, you were supposed to know the ramifications of it. As if like when you were 18 years old and you said something or you did something, as if you weren't just an 18-year-old kid who didn't know right from wrong, you know? So it makes you really, really the trick that it tries to tell you is it tells you that you need to improve out of a place of self-hate, but the only way to you can't hate yourself into loving yourself. You can only love yourself into loving yourself.
Hmm.
And every single human being out there has some good characteristics to them. God didn't make anybody that God didn't create anybody without a purpose. God didn't create anybody without skills, without a support system that they can find. So just keep on going at it, and really, really just stick to the recovery program.
As you said, like you didn't really tell anyone what you've gone through or any of that.
Yeah.
I know from experience, and I'm not sure if you knew if I told you, or a lot of people do know, is I actually didn't tell anyone what I went through until I started what I was doing on my Instagram. So until I posted my story, my own testimonial of myself on my story, that's when my parents found out. That's when my friends found
Yeah.
out. And I hid that from everyone for 10 years of my life, right? I just played as, oh, I was all right, I was all good, all of this. But it's
Yeah.
important, guys, that if you are going through something like this, you need to go to someone who has been through what you've gone through, right? I'm not saying go to therapy.
Please do not go to therapy.
Go ahead,
Please do
Jack.
not go to therapy.
Go ahead, Jackie. Why not?
Going to therapy made it worse for me
Hmm.
because at the end of the day, they give you bullshit coping techniques that work for a minute or two. They sit there and they will keep you stuck because at the end of the day, the therapists are one financially obligated to keep you depressed for as long as possible. Otherwise, they don't get paid, right? And what I always the thing that always stuck out to me, the thing that made I whenever I looked at my parents, I had these intrusive thoughts that like I wanted to hurt them. The thing that I always loved about working with you, Philip, that made me know that I was gonna fully recover from working with you, is that from our very first call, you told me that even if after the 60-day program I was not fully recovered, you would still work with me another 30 days to make sure that I was fully recovered.
Hmm.
And that to me, like, finally was like the light bulb went into my head, like, wow, finally somebody that's actually interested in me fully recovering and not just giving me bullshit coping techniques to keep me stuck. And I will also say that talking about your problems, listen, it's good to talk about your problems to a trusted person once in a while, once in a blue moon, if they're really overwhelming you. But continuously talking about them day after day, twice a week, three times a week is only going to make them worse, and it's only going to keep you stuck because you are one identifying with the problem and you're giving the problem your energy.
Hmm. Yes, yes, man. And
Yeah.
on that note with therapy, like guys, just for the love of God, you have to understand that your brain does not rewire based on words. You can't talk your way out of a disorder. You can't talk your way out of depression, anxiety, whatever it is. Your brain doesn't care what you're saying. It only cares about what you do. So when your actions, going to therapy, searching all day, researching your symptoms, talking about it to your family, your friends, even though it's valid, I understand you guys, but that's what's keeping you stuck. All of those actions back up the belief that you have something wrong with you. Your brain is action based, it's behavior based, it rewires through behavior. But yeah, thank God, Jackie, you didn't go further down that route.
And
And
I want
yeah,
to just add one more thing. I want to
yeah.
just add one more thing. A lot of times, what makes your depression word is worse is being labeled with it. That's what happened with me. I, I told Philip this when we first spoke, that once I started going through this last phase of depression, I actually realized that this is not the first time I was depressed in my life. The only difference was there was a time around 2 or 3 years ago where I was depressed, right? Where I basically showed all the symptoms of being depressed. The only difference why I was able to break away from that first depression cycle a lot quicker than I did my second depression cycle was because I never identified and I was never told I was depressed.
Hmm.
I was never identified I never identified with somebody that was depressed. I just kept going on with my life, keeping my normal day-to-day routine, showing up to work, showing up to my friendships as usual. And the depression eventually went away by itself. At that time, I remember it lasted for around 2 months. And like I said, I was able to get out of it much quicker because nobody ever labeled me with depression. Nobody ever told me I was depressed. And more importantly, right, I would never acted like I was depressed. I acted like it was completely normal. I went about my day, and eventually, through doing that, you just catch up with life. I guess is the way I would put it. Your brain catches up to somebody that's living a normal, productive life.
100%, 150%, man. What people don't understand is that we live in a society where people think it's not normal to feel anxious, to feel sad, to feel overwhelmed, to feel tired, to feel whatever it is. Negative emotions, negative thoughts is part of being a human being. But as soon as you start focusing on these negative thoughts and negative emotions, and then you flag it to your brain, going, why am I feeling like this? I got to search about it. Is it normal to feel sad? Is it normal to feel anxious? That's what gets you inside a disorder is your focus. And then it's just a feedback loop that you create. Another thing I want to touch on, Jackie, you said identity, right, guys? Identity is the number one thing to all of this is, Jackie, what's the first thing I actually tell you inside the program?
That you are 100% recovered.
And why is that?
Because before you need to step into the program, you need to have the faith. One, that's one. You need to
Mhm.
have faith, right? And also, you need to accept that you're taking on a new identity. And you have to take on the identity of somebody who is 100% recovered. And then you have to do the action, right? Of somebody that's 100% recovered. And then, most importantly, you have to have the patience.
Mhm,
You
mhm.
can't think that just because you did something for one day, that oh you're 100 that and then you still have the negative thoughts or the negative feelings, they're going to be 100% recovered. And actually, as you get into Philip in your program, as for pep for anybody that's gonna go and purchase, and I really recommend that you do, right? What you get into is the days that are hard are the best days possible.
Yes.
That's where the rewiring of your brain actually happens. And it's so true. The days that are hard, the days where you don't feel like it, the days where your brain's the loudest, you need to get excited about those days. You need to actually want those days, because it's easy to show up to life and it's easy to not be depressed when you feel great, when your brain quiets down, when you feel like, wow, I'm back. It's easy to not be depressed, but at the end of the day, there's no such thing as being happy 24/7. If you were
Hmm.
to be happy
Hmm.
24/7, you wouldn't be a human being, right?
Yep.
That's not what a human being is. We're not meant to be. We are creatures that feel so many different emotions throughout the day, right? If you were to, let's say, God forbid, get news today that your entire family died in a plane crash and you were
Yep.
still happy, you would be like, that's not a human being. You would be
Nah.
dead
Yeah,
emotionally,
yeah.
right? So the number one thing is that you need to, and in fact, want those bad days. Understand that those best bad days where your brain's the loudest and you don't feel like it are the days where the biggest progress is made, right? And you need to view those days as an opportunity.
Yep. It is, guys. In recovery, guys, I don't even talk about it. It's not even you're recovered from day one, okay? Becoming your higher self is the whole point of recovery, is that when you're focused on your higher self, okay, recovery happens as a byproduct. But what I'm trying to say is you're gonna have days where it feels like it is the worst of the worst. Like it's worse than you actually had it before you started your recovery journey, okay?
Yeah,
There are no such things as setbacks at all. There's no such thing as setbacks. Those days where your mind's screaming, where you don't want to get out of bed, it is the worst of the worst. That is an opportunity for you to rewire your brain. That is an opportunity for you to show your nervous system that these symptoms do not dictate your life anymore, that emotions and thoughts aren't dangerous, and that even if you feel sad, even if you feel anxious or whatever it is, you still go do what you need to do anyway. That's what recovery is. Recovery is based on your actions and what you do every day. Because what a lot of people do, I used to be a victim to this as well when I was stuck for so long, is I believed that recovery is a perfect state, 24/7, being happy, joyful. As Jackie just said, there's no such thing. It's an illusion. You can never, ever be happy 24/7. And you know what's another funny thing is? If you were happy 24/7, how would you know what happy feels like? The only reason you know what happy feels like is because of the low moments. So then you can appreciate the happy moments. That's how I see it.
yeah.
What would you say honestly sets the difference between real line reality and all these traditional methods?
Philip actually helps you recover. Philip actually helps you get your sense of self worth and your identity back. He doesn't just give you coping mechanisms. By joining Realign Reality, what you're doing is, first off, you're joining a community where you're seeing other people that are going through what you're going through, right? And you're getting a one-on-one, hands-on experience. But you're also getting, most importantly, you're getting somebody that's going to coach you through the difficult moments and through the good moments, and is going to be on top of you to make sure you're hitting your goals, and that you're actually outlining a step-by-step program that will align with your highest self. But that's the difference between joining Realign Reality. Is basically you're going to get, you're forcing yourself into discipline structured, and that's what gets you out of depression. I would say what sets the difference is a focus on action and a focus on understanding what it means to be human and somebody that actually is really keeping you accountable, right? Because what I hated about therapy, one of the things that I hated about therapy, I should say, was that my therapist didn't give two shits about keeping me accountable, right? He would give you advice. And by the way, I'm not even saying it was bad advice, right? It's just that the advice meant nothing when I knew he wasn't going to keep me accountable. And like a lot of times, like I would go to a session, right? And he wouldn't even remember what we spoke about the previous session, what the game plan was, what the schedule I set out. It was a very it was not a one-on-one, it was a one-on-one experience, but you didn't feel like you were actually getting that one-on-one attention, right? You didn't actually have anybody to keep you accountable, right? The therapists are the type that were like, if you have a bad day, right, they'll tell you, oh, okay, take a day off, rest, and that's just what keeps you in the loop. There we go.
What are some of those coping mechanisms that you got, Jackie? Just tell everyone.
Like you'd see so many videos on YouTube that are like, oh, your nervous system is you have a dysregulated nervous system. Just take deep breaths. Like, are you serious? You think something as serious as a dysregulated nervous system is going to be fixed by taking a bunch of deep breaths? Maybe it would work. By the way, it got to a point where it never even worked for me because I knew it was bullshit. Once your brain knows something's bullshit, it's not going to work, right? You have to believe in the work, which is why it's so important to believe that you're 100% recovered, because you need to believe that for this to work. You
100%.
need to really, really believe that and start acting like it. And all those coping mechanisms, like it was literally like putting a band-aid on a gunshot wound.
Yes, 100%, 100%. And guys, EFT tapping, I'm sure everyone's tried this already. I tried everything, guys, in the book. I've tried every single traditional method, every little technique, grounding technique, breathing technique, write my thoughts down, journaling, all the BS, okay? So you guys understand why it doesn't work is because when you're doing XYZ to get rid of a symptom or an emotional thought, you're telling your brain something's wrong with you. You're telling yourself, I gotta do this to get rid of danger. I gotta get rid of this thing. Every time you do that, you're in the identity of someone who isn't recovered. Every time you go to therapy, you're literally telling your subconscious mind you're going there because you're not recovered, number one. Number two, something's wrong with you. And number three, you're trying to get fixed. So you can never recover unless you step into the version of you who is already recovered. That is just how your brain works. This is science. This is neuroscience, not my word. This is how I recovered. This is how Jackie recovered. Very simple, guys. What fears and doubts did you have before joining the program, Jackie?
I honestly actually did not have really any fears and doubts, which is I think what helped me recover so quickly. I was literally to backtrack a little bit, what actually got me to you, right? What actually got me to join the program is that I was very, very close on getting into ketamine infusions or the ketamine bullshit. And there was something inside of me that was just telling me, no, 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 no. This can't be it. You can't be this can't be the route to go down. This can't be what solves this problem. Being drugged out, relying on controlled substances
Hmm.
that you don't even know. Like I firmly believe that if I was to go down that route, it probably would have made things worse, and I really literally would not be here today, right? Um, so there was like something inside me telling me this can't be it. This can't be it. This can't be the solution to your problem, right? And then I stumbled upon a video of yours, talking about how our brain's basically a TikTok algorithm, and I completely agreed because actually I would say while I was going through this depression, right, there was around a 2 week stretch in the last 6 months before I was fully recovered that I actually felt like a normal human being, and that was a 2 week stretch where I managed to basically like convince myself that one's nothing wrong with me, two, act like something's wrong with me, and three, stop like judging myself for that. Like there was a 2 3 stretch where I did that, right? And it worked. I felt like myself, right? Then I relapsed, but it led me to finding you, right?
Mhm.
And then once I found you and I saw that you were going to keep me accountable, right? That you gave us a blueprint. I loved how you went about describing depression, like how you talked about how in the ancient times the depression would be used to protect the tribesmen, right? How you basically went through describing how we can actually use anxiety and depression to our advantage, right? Once I saw all of that, once I saw that this is somebody that's actually going to keep me accountable and give me and help me build structure and discipline, I honestly knew that it was the right choice.
I love that, man. I love
Like
that.
I knew that this is what's gonna help me recover.
I love that. And the reason why I ask those questions is because a lot of people are skeptical. They go, how can someone recover in a few weeks? How is that possible? How is something that is, if you look up, if guys, if you go on Google right now, you go, is depression curable? It will tell you no. It will say it's a lifelong managing illness. That's the lie that you've been fed. The mental health industry has designed your biological responses to stress. They've named it as an illness so they can profit on you. Profit off you. That's all it is. They want
100%,
you to
100%.
they want you to be in the system as long as possible. Think it, guys. Whoever has Netflix here, all right, it's the most common one. Why would Netflix want to get rid of you when the longer you're with them, the more money they get? That's how it is. You're on a subscription. You're on a subscription until you basically pull out, right? Because it doesn't help you recover.
One of the biggest problems that I had with therapy was right then and there. One, I felt like I was talking to somebody who never even went through what I went through. So how would they know how I can recover? One. Two, it was so obvious to me that this system doesn't work because this person's entire livelihood is literally dependent on me staying depressed. So why would he want to help me to begin with? He doesn't get paid if I stop coming. And
Yeah, yeah.
I don't stop. And if I stay depressed, I won't stop coming. That's the only way this guy literally puts food on the table for his family. So what incentivizes him to make a full? What incentivizes him to help me make a full recovery? With
100%.
Philip, it's different. With Philip, like I said, he will walk you through and he will literally tell you, "I will work with you until you are fully recovered." That's the
100%.
biggest difference. And that right then and there is what should give you the most confidence that this is the right way to go.
Thank you for that, Jackie. 100%. And the second thing I was going to say came back to my mind is ask your therapist if they've actually successfully helped someone fully recover. Like a full recovery, not I feel better. Oh, I gotta manage my symptoms every day. None of that BS. Like literally where they are able to go live their life again, where they're actually good. Like I'm 100% recovered. It doesn't exist, guys. Like, maybe there is 1% of people that have actually made a recovery from therapy, but 99% of the guys, it's a load of BS. It doesn't work. It will keep you stuck. I was in there for years of my life going to
I,
keep,
I will
yeah,
I will say this. I actually think I would go so far as to say that there are zero human beings in history that have actually ever recovered for therapy.
yeah,
And I'll tell you why. Even if there is somebody out there that technically recovered while being in therapy, what they didn't recover because they were in therapy. They recovered because they actually took actions. They actually took the correct actions and actually built the right thought processes to get them out of depression. They didn't therapy going to talk to somebody 45 minutes a week about their problems isn't what actually helped them recover, right? Unless and if that's the case, then they likely never were depressed to begin with. They likely just had they were probably just stressed for a day or two, right? Anybody, if you or somebody out there, right, you have to understand, like I was saying, like I firmly believe nobody's ever recovered from therapy. They might have been going to therapy while they recovered, but in all reality is you can never ever ever recover without taking the proper actions and taking the proper and actually taking the proper identity. You can never
100%.
actually recover.
Do you think you could have made a full recovery by yourself?
By myself, no, no,
Why? Why is that?
no, because the tips and tricks that you taught me, the tips and tricks that you go through in the module, are crucial to understanding what depression is and how to coach yourself through the down moments. And if you can't coach yourself through the down moments, you're cooked. So I could not have gone past it by myself. No.
100%. And guys, if you don't understand how
and
your
and
brain
without
works,
and I just
yeah,
want to add one more thing. And without God, all glory to God
100%,
as well.
100%. That's a
We
big one.
cannot. We can. I'm not going to sit here and act like it was just me and you that did this. This was a divine
Oh,
blessing.
100%, 100%, 100%, man. I vouch for you there, man. So, guys, you have to understand if you do not know how your brain works, if you don't know how to rewire your brain through neuroplasticity, it's not impossible to recover, but if you do recover, it's kind of like you just got lucky because you've just done everything without even knowing that you've done it right, okay? You have to understand what your brain does, how to rewire it, why you're feeling like this, how to get yourself out of it. It's a very complex thing, your brain. And once you understand it, recovery, it's impossible not to recover once you understand your brain. Because as Jackie just said before, the same way you got yourself in this state is the exact same way you get yourself out. And that is called neuroplasticity by rewiring your brain. Okay, what specific parts of the program do you feel made the biggest impact to you? Like the course, the 24/7 support, the weekly calls, the community. What would you say really helped you?
I really can't say that I can pinpoint to one or the other. I think it all goes together, it all works together. Like the module definitely helps set up the base of knowledge for sure. But also those one-on-one weekly calls. Like for instance, there was even as recently as 2 weeks ago, right? There was a time where and we speak about and you speak about this that when you're closest to recovery is when your brain starts getting the loudest. And I was going through a terrible OCD loop when I was going through a terrible, terrible OCD loop where basically all of the fears and all of the thoughts that I had over the last 6 months were all like attacking me at once. And what I kept telling myself at that time, instead of getting nervous, instead of judging myself, what I kept telling myself is literally, yes, yes, I'm excited. Now I finally get to kill all those dragons. All those dragons that have been chasing me in the last 6 to 8 months, they're all coming to attack me at once. Now is the opportunity to finally finish them off. I literally got excited, right? And that was through the one-on-one weekly call that I had with you at the time where
Mhm.
that's where you were helping me out of that. But of course, the module sets it up as well, taking detailed notes on the module, and of course, following through with your higher self, following through with your schedule that you set up for yourself.
Mhm.
So I really don't think it's one thing or the other. I think it all works together. I guess like a beautiful sandwich, if you will.
I like that. Yeah, every like the way I've set out the program, all of it is important, right? It all adds together and having the knowledge, having the support from me, making sure I'm with you on those tougher days, as you mentioned, and the community, right? I love the community. That's my favorite part, in my opinion,
Yeah,
is because you're around other people who are also in their recovery journey, but the main priority is to become their higher self. So everyone's smashing it out, going to the gym, eating healthy, going on walks, all these things. And when you're around positive people and you're seeing all this, it uplifts you to push yourself even more. Yeah.
and yeah, 100%. The community helps. It also helps to challenge you because when you see somebody crushing out their daily win, it just makes you run a little bit faster to crush out your daily win. You want to keep up.
100%. Yes, and you need to surround yourself, guys. Your environment is so important. When you're around other people, if you're around four other people who go to the gym, you're going to be the fifth person that goes to the gym. If you're around four or five people that smoke weed all day, you're going to be the sixth person smoking weed. It's just how it is. You are who you hang out with, and it's a very big thing when it comes to recovery because your friends influence you so much. You adapt their habits in a way, and it's proven through psychology and science and all of that. I talk about going all in, Jackie, at the very start. I tell you, go 110%, show up every single day. How do you think that that played in your recovery journey?
Yeah, 100%. It's a huge factor because to get out of this, it's I'm not gonna say you can't take your foot off the gas pedal, but you don't want to. You don't want to, right? Um, like that's why I think I was able to recover so quickly. Is just because like I tell myself like I don't want to take my foot off the gas pedal. I want to align with my higher self. I know that doing these things is what's gonna help me get back to being myself, and it's what's helped me gonna actually build the discipline and structure I need to move forward with my life.
Perfectly said. Perfectly said. Is you literally, guys, is once you, it's funny to say, but like once you get in the momentum of being your higher self, you realize that you don't want to stop because you know if you stop doing what you know you need to be doing, you'll ultimately go back to how you were. And that version of you is the reason why you're here today. That's all it is. If your habits and if you're not being who you need to be, your nervous system's obviously going to tell you off. It's going to go, wake up, go do what you need to do. But well said, Jackie, there. And how does life feel like now, Jackie, that you're 100% recovered compared to months ago? Like how would you
Uh,
describe that?
it's, it's great. It's amazing. Like last night, I went out with my friends for around 3 or 4 hours. Had a great time. You know, Today, even as we sit today, I went out with my brother. Like I'm making sure I'm never home. Work has gone by much smoother. Like I even like am doing. I feel better at work now than I did even while before I was depressed because I just feel like a more confident person. I feel like I'm more in tune with my highest self. So yeah, it makes you a stronger, happier, more confident person, and there's no words to describe it.
No words to describe it. I can see, man, you're fully locked in. Everything is dialed in. You're being your higher self. You're enjoying yourself. And I remember, like, you also wanted to change your job, as well. You were like, I don't know if sales is for me anymore. That's the thing with depression and anxiety, guys. It convinces you that the things you used to love isn't for you anymore. Do you agree with me, Jackie?
Yeah, 100%, 100%,
Do you think that this was the best investment that you've ever made, Jackie?
100%. 100%, it was worth every dollar. You can't put a price on getting your sense of identity and self-worth back. You can't put a price on not being stuck in your head 24/7. There's no amount of money in the world that's worth that. You could have $2 billion in your bank account, but if that's what your life is, it doesn't matter. So 100% this investment was worth it. No amount of money in the world is worth feeling like shit 24/7.
100%, man. You can't like this is the thing, guys. You can give someone a brand new Ferrari, the best house in the world, unlimited money, but if you're in depression and anxiety, it doesn't fill that void. You can't change your external reality cannot change your internal reality because it doesn't work like that. Your external reality is a mirror of your internal reality. It doesn't matter what you get on your external.
Now that I'm on the other side of it, I literally realized that the universe blesses me more. Like the universe, like I've seen at work, like out of nowhere, opportunities arise. Like right after, like I have like a like let's say I go through like a really positive day and I'm focused. I'm energetic. I'm energetic. I'm confident. I've seen opportunities I ride. I've literally seen the universe bless me, return the same energy back that I'm putting back out, that I'm putting into the universe.
You get what you are. The universe gives you what you are. You know, God gives you what you are. He gives you what you deserve. That's why if you show God, you
Yeah.
show the universe that you are 100% recovered, it has to happen. The law of attraction is a law of the universe, and that's how it works. If someone is watching this and they are still doubtful and skeptical in joining the program, what would you tell them, Jackie?
What do you have to lose at this point? What do you have to lose at this point? If you want to be my guest and try going down the therapy route or the ketamine route or the TMS route for the rest of your life, then A, you're gonna waste more money doing that. That's one. So the money factor is out the window because you're literally gonna spend more money throughout the course of your life staying stuck with those programs. And B, it's like you literally have to get back and you literally just have to understand and tell yourself, okay, I got myself into this with my behaviors, with my thoughts, and with my actions. If I got myself into this with those, I can definitely get myself out of this by changing those same behaviors, thoughts, and actions that got myself into this. That's what I just always go back to.
If you had to leave this world with one piece of advice for someone who's going through depression, anxiety, what would it be?
Okay. So outside of building a close relationship with God, which I think is very important, I'm a very religious person, but I want to say that even throughout this process, one of the most intrusive thoughts that I had throughout this process is for a long time that I had atheistic thoughts, right? So outside of that, reconnecting to God, I think is something that's very big and getting and to getting out of depression. I do understand that not everybody's religious, and I respect that. Everybody has their own upbringing in life. Outside of that, my number one advice would be actually, and this might shock people, is something that helped me so much throughout this is stop stop chasing a purpose in life. Stop looking for a purpose in life, right? Life is meant to be lived, experienced by itself, right? 1,000 years ago, 100 years ago, nobody had depression because nobody asked themselves, what's the purpose of life? Life is meant, you are meant to try and fail, to try and fail, to try and succeed, to not try and succeed. You are meant to go through this life and enjoy the roller coaster, enjoy the unknowns. Because I guarantee you that a lot of people sometimes found their purpose in life and actually found that it was never what they wanted to begin with. You have to start enjoying the journey. To me, that's what's been the biggest part of me is like I stopped looking for my purpose in life. And by the way, continuously looking for your purpose in life is a great way to never find your purpose in life. By the way, that I firmly believe that's how the universe works, right? Putting too much energy and putting too much focus on it is literally you telling your the universe, I'm lacking this. I'm lacking this. We are most of the people that are going to be joining this program are young. You're 21, you're 22. You're not supposed to have it all figured out yet. And trying to control and micromanage and figure everything out by yourself and thinking that you need to have it all figured out by now is a great way to not have it figured out, right? Take a deep breath, relax, build a list of non-negotiables that you stick to, right? And enjoy the journey, enjoy the process. One of the biggest things that got me here, that got me into depression, was that I didn't enjoy the journey. I always told myself the next dollar would make it. I'll be happy when I have my next dollar. I'll be happy when I close my next deal. I'll be happy when I hit that first 100K month, 50K month, whatever it might be. I firmly believe, looking back at it now, I could have avoided all of this by just enjoying the journey as it was, by enjoying the ups and downs and by accepting them for what they are, which is life. Life is meant to be experienced, it's lived. You are meant to try and fail and find yourself all over again.
Wow, I love that, Jackie, man. Beautiful, beautifully said. That is amazing. That is a very good motivation speech for anyone watching this, guys, is you are the purpose and just live your life. It's good to have goals for yourself, but don't think that the goal is the happy place. The journey is the dream. I always say this to people.
Yeah.
The journey is actually the dream, not what you want in life. Detach from what you want. It's going to come regardless, but enjoy whatever it is that you want. Have your non-negotiables, work hard every day. But yeah, and then that comes to the end of the interview, Jackie. Thank you for being an amazing client. I can vouch to anyone, guys, that Jackie gave 110%. He wanted it more than anything. That's the thing. That's the difference between you, me, and Jackie. Me and Jackie wanted this more than anything. Like, we wanted to go all in. We wanted to make a recovery. We made it happen. And look now, he's 100% recovered, living his life again, onto his new path and fulfilling his purpose. But yeah, thank you, Jackie, so much for everything.
Yeah, for sure. And if anybody wants to reach out to me with any questions or any advice, feel free to reach out to me. My Instagram is Jack at JackieFT2. And I really want to thank you, Philippe. You were literally a godsend. You saved my life. And I can honestly say, like, yeah, 100% sign up for your program. Do not even hesitate. It is single-handedly the best investment you will make in your life. Better than any Bitcoin purchase you can make. There's no better investment you can make than investing in yourself and investing in your higher self.
Perfectly said.
And Philip will help you. And Philip will help you with that for sure.
Perfectly said, Jackie. I'm going to leave it there. And thank you guys for taking the time for watching this interview. Thank you, Jackie, once again. And yeah, peace out. That's it.